Stop looking for happiness in the same place you lost it. The people with the worst past can't create the best future if you don't design your own life plan. Chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan, and what they have planned for you is not much. Forgiving people in silence and never speaking to them, again, is a form of self-care. Don't cling to yesterday. It was beautiful, but it was yesterday. Stop being so available to people who are only there for you when it's convenient for them. There's only one thing more precious than our time, and that's who we spend it on. One day, you'll laugh at how much you let this matter. Never hurt others to heal yourself. Never hurt yourself to heal others. Don't just love yourself, have respect for yourself. If you don't, other people will have no problems walking all over you. The highest reward for one's toil is not what one gets for it, but what one becomes by it. Clocks show time, and time shows people. Healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means that damage no longer controls your life. Recognizing that you are not where you want to be is a starting point to begin changing your life. Try to get what you love, otherwise you'll have to love what you got. Your education is never complete. Determined to live fully and continually learn, you must let the pain visit. You must allow it to teach you. You must not allow it to overstay. If you can find paths without any obstacles, it probably leads nowhere. Obstacles aren't roadblocks, they're road signs. Choosing comfort over discomfort does not lead to a comfortable life unless you try to do something beyond what you have already mastered. You will never grow. It's your road and yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can walk it for you. Your value is not determined by someone else's inability to see your worth. Problems are the price you pay for progress. Be patient and tough. Someday this pain will be useful to the trouble is, if you don't spend your life yourself, other people spend it for you. Being deluded and scared will make you suffocate. Being honest with yourself and responsible will make you breathe. Stand up to your obstacles and do something about them. You will find that they haven't half the strength you think they have. No man is more unhappy than he whenever face adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Change the person in the mirror, and your world will change. You can waste your lives drawing lines, or you can live your life crossing them. You can win a lot in life just by being the last one to give up. Just because you hate this chapter doesn't mean you'll hate the book. Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop. What we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do. One of my biggest life lessons is wheel at the speed of our forgiveness, more important than the ability to pick the right one is the strength to walk away from the wrong one. Shallow men believe in luck. Strong men believe in cause and effect. You cannot be lonely if you like the person. You're alone with our suffering is caused by holding on to how things might have been, should have been, could have been. Your wound is not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. Close some doors today, not because of pride, incapacity, or arrogance, but simply because they lead you nowhere. The things that you consider to be yours own you far more than you own them. Much suffering and much unhappiness arise when you take each thought that comes into your head for the truth. We cannot simply sit and stare at our wounds forever. We must stand up and move on to the next action. The journey to your success will always begin with a small step. Off taking a chance, you'll ruin your life trying to make everyone happy. The good life is not one immune to sadness, but one in which suffering contributes to our music development. Sacrifice today for tomorrow's betterment. You are willing to pay those payments with pain because is just a message. When you are fixing something that's insufficient in your life, following a path is easy. Creating a new one can be painful, but it will lead you to new places. It is wise to keep in mind that neither success nor failure is ever final. You may have had unfair things happen to you, but the depth of your pain is an indication of the height of your future. We feel guilty when we no longer want to associate with old friends who've not changed, but this is the price and marker of growth. The world will not become kinder to you just because you are a good person. Good people are the ones who are played with the most. The real man smiles in trouble, gathers strength from distress, and grows brave by reflection. If someone's words do match their actions, get away from them. Sometimes it's the thought of someone leaving you, which is more painful than the pain you feel when someone leaves you. In every success story, you will find someone who has made a courageous decision, your life becomes so peaceful when your anger for the people who hurt you turns into sympathy for them. People are more selfish than you think they are. You have to walk and create the way by your walking. You will not find a ready-made path. The greatest thing you can give yourself is freedom from what others think. You cannot be afraid to disappoint people. You have to live that life you want. All of you will meet people who you just can't get along with. No matter how correct you come, you can say and do all the right things, but will bump heads regardless. Change is scary because known challenges and pain are easier to accept than unknowns. Don't be afraid to do things by yourself. Waiting for other people will cause you to miss out on some wonderful things in life. Forget trying to change people. Either change yourself or change your environment, or both. Never give up on what you really want to do. The person with big dreams is more powerful than the one with all the facts. At some point you will realize no one else has a say in your life unless you let them. Your life becomes meaningful in precise proportion to the depths of the responsibility you are willing to shoulder. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. The most massive characters are seared with scars. If you're not resilient by now, life is only going to get tougher, for you always place your becoming above your current beating. Do not cling to any one person. Note even your most beloved. Every person is a prison and also a hiding place. The chief trick to making good mistakes is not to hide them, especially not from yourself. Life gets better when health becomes your first priority. The more seriously you take yourself, the unhappier you're going to be. The energy we spend to complain can be redirected to act for change. When we take responsibility, we get out of the victim mode. Enjoy what you can and ignore the rest. Let's not waste any energy fighting things that are outside our control. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. This will miraculously transform your whole life. Sometimes letting things go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging. Sometimes the place you are used is not the place you music belong. All obstacles that are perceived with love can transform into the greatest life lessons. As you improve, you'll find yourself more disappointed with those around you. To avoid this, be hard on yourself, but understanding of others. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Don't hold your breath on people doing the right or ethical thing. People make decisions based on self-interests, not on what is right. Nothing prevents happiness like the memory of happiness. Often there is a time gap between knowing better and doing better. Start prioritizing your mental health instead of adjusting to toxic spaces. If you haven't the strength to impose your own terms upon life, then you must accept the tier terms it offers you. The more distant you are, the more you can see the whole picture. You have a broader view with less emotional confusion. The best thing you can do for society is to take care of yourself first. Even if you've been dumped on, mistreated, you have to not become bitter, not mistreat or dump on others. You can't make people love you the way you love them. The regret of putting first those who don't put you first make your life painful. When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in there. Most important thing is to look ahead. The past is your anchor. Life is a succession of lessons that must be lived to be understood before a new chapter is begun. The old one has to be finished. Tell yourself that what has passed will never come back. Nothing is irreplaceable. A habit is not a need. No matter how many people you surround yourself with, you will always be alone. It's up to you to pick yourself up and carry on. When you're driving through the darkness, you can only see as far as the headlights shine, but you can make the whole trip that way. In the end, everything will be okay. If it's not okay, it's not yet the end. If it makes you nervous, you're doing right. What a wonderful thought it is that some of the best days of our lives haven't happened yet. There is only one thing more painful than learning from experience, and that is not learning from experience. In any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or step back into safety. One of the fastest ways to improve your life is to simply do what you said you were going to do. Your future self is watching. Youth You may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth may be the best thing in the world for you that. Trouble is, if you don't risk anything, you risk more. Hope itself is like a star, not to be seen in the sunshine of prosperity, and only to be discovered in the night of adversity. You can't turn back the clock, but you can wind it up again. One finds limits. By pushing them, the past cannot be changed, future is. Yet in your power, if you hate starting over, stop quitting whatever the mind can think and perceive it. Kanachivi, if you want to achieve greatness, stop asking permission. Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. The limits of the possible can only be defined by going beyond them into the impossible. If you want to increase your success rate, double your failure rate. Adversity introduces a man to himself. If the path is beautiful, let us not ask where it leads. All we are is the result of. All he thought. The task ahead of you is never greater than the strength within you. The time you kill does not die without avenging itself. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. The future is always beginning now. Your greatest self has been waiting your whole life. Don't make it wait any longer. One secret of success in life is for a man to be ready for his opportunity. When it comes, there is meaning in every journey that is unknown to the traveler. Don't carry your mistakes around with you. Instead, place them under your feet and use them as stepping stones to rise above them. Once you realize you deserve a bright future, letting go of your dark past is the best choice you will ever make. Folks are usually about as happy as they make up their minds. Toby, at some point, you have to divorce yourself from doing the things that other people want from you. The road to success and the road to failure are almost exactly the same. Wake up determined and go to bed satisfied. It's always too early to quit. Growing up is losing some illusions in order to acquire others. You are always one decision away from a totally different life. Try not to become a man of success, but rather become a man of value. Of all sad words of tongue, or penthy saddest are these. It might have been, you cannot find peace by avoiding life. Don't be pushed around by the fierce in your mind. Be led by the dreams in your heart. Your life is your story. Write well at it often. No amount of regretting can change the past, and no amount of worrying can change the future. 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the ones you did. The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. Tell the truth, or someone will tell it for you. To choose doubt as a philosophy of life is akin to choosing immobility as a means of transportation. Life shrinks or expands in the proportion to one's courage. Letting go means to come to the realization that some people are a part of your history, but not a part of your destiny. Courage is like a muscle. We strengthen it by use. If you give up on your dreams, what's left? If we all did the things we are capable of, we would literally astound ourselves. We aim above the mark to hit the mark. You can't live your life for upper people. You've got to do what's right for you, even if it hurts some people you love. Sometimes good things fall apart, so better things can fall together. The world is round, and the place which may seem like the end may also be the beginning. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Despite everything, it's still you. Change the world by being yourself. Your talent determines what you can do. Your motivation determines how much you are willing to do. Your attitude determines how well you do it. You are always stronger and more resourceful than you give yourself credit for. Challenge and adversity are meant to help you know who you are. Storms hit your weakness, but unlock your true strength. Pain is inevitable. Suffering, optional worry, does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. Have one before you have started. Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. The only place where your dream becomes impossible is in your own thinking. Planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it. No life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. The discontent and frustration that you feel is entirely your own creation. People don't resist change, they resist being changed. Life isn't fair, it's just fairer than death, that's all. If you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. A successful man is one who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks others have thrown at him if you wait for something. All that depends is that you get older. Just because your path is different from others doesn't mean you're lost. It is difficult to make the right choice if you fear choosing wrongly. Courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. You grow up the day you have your first real laugh at yourself. We are all faced with a series of great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. If you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes. You can waste your lives drawing lines, or you can live your life crossing them. You have to accept whatever comes, and the only important thing is that you meet it with the best you have to give. Maturity is when you stop complaining and making excuses, start making changes. They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself. No matter how much suffering you went through, you never wanted to let go of those memories. Go forth on your path as it exists only. Through your music, walking the art of living lies less in eliminating our troubles than in growing with them. Life isn't something you possess. It's something you take part in. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. The mind eyes everything. What you think you become on the other side of a storm is the strength that comes from having navigated through it. Raise your sail and begin. Life can only be understood backward, but it must be lived forwards. You can have it all, just not all autons. Go as far as you can see. When you get there, you'll be able to see further. That it will never come again is what makes life so sweet. Although the world is full of suffering, it is full also of the overcoming of it. The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you're. Be brave to stand for what you believe in. Even if you stand alone, the world stands aside to let anyone pass. Who knows where he is going? Change is never painful. Only resistance to change is painful. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Difficulties are meant to rouse, not discourage. The human spirit is to grow strong by conflict. Finding the lesson behind every adversity will be the one important thing that helps get you through it. Dreams happen when you're asleep. Hope happens when you dream. While you're awake, the pain you've been feeling can't compare to the joy that is coming. Life is not a matter of holding good cards, but of playing a poor hand well. Fear is just excitement in need of an attitude adjustment. We don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. I have learned not to allow rejection to move me. It's not who you think you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. It's not the load that keeps you down. It's how you carry it at the end of the game. The king and the pawn go back to the same box. We must embrace pain and burn it as fuel for our journey. The days are long, but the years are short. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Forgive yourself for your faults and your mistakes and move on. When you accept yourself, the whole world accepts you. Step out of the history that is holding you back. Step into the new story you are willing to create. At the end of the day, let there be no excuses, no explanations, no regrets. You have within you right now everything you need to deal with whatever the world can throw at you. Be careful the stories you're telling yourself about your current circumstances. A head full of negative thoughts has no space for positive ones. Strong people have a strong sense of self-worth and self-awareness. They don't need the approval of others. If there was nothing wrong in the world, there wouldn't be anything for us to do. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. It is not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. Waiting is painful. Forgetting is painful, but not knowing which to do is the worst kind of suffering. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. I never change. I simply become more myself. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we've. Almost every successful person begins with two beliefs: the future can be better than the present, and I have the power to make it. So there is hope even when your brain tells you there isn't. You only fail when you stop trying. Adventure may hurt you, but monotony will kill you. Maybe the path that scares you the most is the one you need to take. Sometimes just carrying on is a superhuman achievement. We must be willing to let go the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. If you don't like the road you're walking, start paving. Another one, adversity is not additor. It is part of the path. Adversity has the effect of eliciting talents, which in prosperous circumstances would have land dormant. Never lose hope. Storms make people stronger and never last forever. Don't let yesterday take up too much. Off today, someday is not a day of the week. Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Hard times may have held you down, but they will not last forever. When all is said and done, you'll be increased. Never limit your view of life by any past experience. Action may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action. How much you can learn when you fail determines how far you will go into achieving your goals. Every adversity, every failure, and every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting that the things you do for yourself are gone when you are gone, but the things you do for others remain as your legacy. Not being heard is no reason for music silence. Remember, no effort that we make to attain something beautiful is ever lost. Forever is composed of nows. This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time. A mind that